Thanks for joining us live on Smart Family. I'm Daphne Monroe.
And I'm Connie Cola, and our goal is always to keep it smart and simple, and you're going to learn something new every day.
That's right, like our first smart topic. Well, does it seem that young people today feel that they are entitled to everything without actually doing anything?
According to a 2007 Gallup poll, when it comes to inheritance, 44% of young adults 18 to 34 expect their relatives will be giving them money or valuables.
Yes, and that's compared to 33% of those a little older at 35 to 54 years old and 10% for those 55 and older. Well, if you want to change your kids' attitudes to a more giving attitude, then you definitely want to listen up. Well, joining us now is Bill Dwight, who is the creator of FamZoo.com, which is a website that teaches your kids how to manage their money. And he happens to be a father of 5 kids. So I'm sure he has a lot to say about this topic. So thanks for joining us, Bill.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So first of all, let's talk about teaching your kids the idea of giving away their money. Tell me about this.
Well, typically they're focused on spending, but we have a site that encourages kids to both spend and give away their money and save also.
But tell me about your philosophy, because you told me that your kids, all 5 of your kids, you encourage them when it comes to, we'll talk about savings in just a second, but you encourage them to give some of their money that they save.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing is for them to have some of their own income so that it's meaningful when they give it away. It's easy to give away mom's money, for example.
Right,
so once they have some of their own, then we sit down and have a conversation and talk about, you know, what proportion would you like to spend, save, and give.
Okay, so, which leads me to my next question. How do these kids get money?
Well, that's a very personal choice, because I know, for example, you're not a big fan of allowance, for example.
But, no, actually I am. My daughter earns her money. She gets chores every week.
In other words, some people think allowance is just a tool for teaching finance and that you shouldn't have to work for it.
No.
Others feel that you should work for chores.
Okay.
And so everyone's got a different philosophy, and the beauty of FamZoo is we cater to any of those philosophies. But the important thing is that the child views it as their money.
Okay, so once they are earning their money and they have their money, now you're saying that you come up with a 3-part when it comes for kids managing their money.
Right. For example, my youngest son, Quentin, he does 60% spending, 20% savings, and 20% giving.
Okay.
And then over time, when he works up to, say, $50 in his giving account, then we sit down together and say, well, you know, how would you like to figure out how to donate this money? And there's lots of wonderful sites online to do that, or you can go in your community.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, so if I'm going to try and take my brain back like 20, 30 years. I'm thinking, okay, if my dad came home and said, okay, we want you to learn how to manage your money, so we're going to teach you how to spend it wisely, how to save it wisely, but we also want you to give some of your money. I would have been like,
Well, that's what my son said at first. What do you mean, give away my money?
So how do you get
So that's
your
a teachable moment. That's an important conversation to have. You know, why is that good for you, Quentin? And what they find is when they do it, they feel good. It's like exercise. You know, it's a little tough to get started, but once you get in the habit, you feel good. It's good for you, and no one else can exercise for you. That's why I think it's important for the kids to have their own money to give away.
Well, I love how you said earlier when we talked, when you said, you know, you really want to encourage your kids to learn how to give and not always receive, because it feels good and it makes the world a better place.
But not only that, if you're taking care of that balance, then you're going to have good personal finance skills, because you're not spending all of your money. You have some left over for these, you know, beneficial things to take care of not only yourself down the road, but also other people in your environment.
Who would have ever thought that giving of your money would actually teach you how to manage your money well, right? I love that.
Feels good.
It does, it does. Okay, now, tell me about when it comes to kids and taking them shopping like it's their birthday. You're saying don't go out and just buy your kids a gift.
Yeah, don't buy it for them. I think it's important for the kids to get into the act of giving. So one thing that you can do is you could set up, for example, a gift allowance where you create a budget for gift giving. Maybe, you know, how many buddies a year and a modest gift, and then have your child, you know, manage that budget. So be involved in the purchase of the good. It makes them feel better to be involved and makes them feel a sense of ownership.
Okay, what about like matching? Like one of the things that I'll do with my child is, you know, say for example she wanted an iPod, it costs $200. So I said, okay, if you can save up $100, I'll match you.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about the Bank of FamZoo, or the Bank of Monroe in your case, is that you can decide all these policies because you're the bank manager. So you might put in matching, you might give her a very aggressive interest rate that you couldn't get at a real bank.
I love that. Now, that leads me to the website that you created. It's called FamZoo.com. Now, what exactly does this website do from other money managers? management sites?
Well, what's neat is that you run your own bank, and so you can make it match your values, and to the kid it looks just like an online bank. So they get practice with online banking and personal finance, budgeting, all that stuff, but you're in charge, you're in control, you make the rules.
I love it. Well, you know what, thanks for joining us, Bill. Some really good advice there on money management skills, and I hope all of your 5 children turn out to excel when it comes to managing their money.
Well, thank you, I hope so too.
And if you would like to check out famzoo.com, it does cost $30 per year, but you can try it out for 2 months for free. I have to say it's rather an interesting site. I hear that Connie is over in our social media section. Connie?
I am, and I bet if Bill plays his cards right, his kids will all be giving him an allowance when he gets older.
That's true.
All right, well, a lot of you are sounding off on our Smart Family 15 Facebook page about entitlement. Does it seem that kids are more entitled these days, or at least feeling it? And what's the best way to approach that attitude? Well, Chris Hawkins says, I see it all the time teaching high school. It's showing in the workplace, too, with young people thinking that they can go straight to the top without having to put in time and effort required for promotion. Parents do have to set limits. And Shauna Pepiat says, I tell my children they are entitled to these things: a roof over your head, warm meals to fill your tummy so you aren't hungry, clothes to cover your naked body, and that's it. Everything else, and I mean everything else, is earned. And Ashley Oak says, make them earn any spending money that they receive and teach the value of saving up for something rather than just handing it over to them. Well, those are great comments, and we thank you for them. We always love when you join the conversation at facebook.com/smartfamily15. Log in and join the conversation now.